Good morning, all. My name is Haley Comet, and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday. Your astrological insights for the week of June 13th to June 19th. The astrological forecast, yes, but what I'm more interested in covering week after week here on Magic Monday is how you can leverage and activate these planetary influences to live your most magical, aligned life. I am here week after week. I would so appreciate if any of my content is helpful or valuable to you. If you could just click any of those buttons, give them a little clicky click, just that really helps me in creating content. And I'm really so grateful for those who choose to start their week with me. Hello. So this week is action-packed, y'all. It is action-packed. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let's chat about it. So we have Mercury entering its domicile of Gemini. And if you're thinking, Haley Comet, I'm having deja vu. Didn't you tell me that happened a month ago? I did. It's re-entering its domicile of Gemini. So basically got into the Gemini portion of the sky on Mercury, the planet of communication. And then from our vantage point here on Earth, it appeared as though it was moving backwards. So then it re-entered the Taurus sector of the sky. And now it is re-entering. Not quite clearing in the shadow. It does clear this week, but with Mercury, it just needs to zip through a couple of degrees of Gemini. And then finally, we have this forward momentum to be able to cast our gaze to the big picture of our world and moving in the direction of what grants us a sense of purpose and meaning. Because the next day, we also have a Sagittarius full moon squaring Neptune, so there can be confusion, there can be a fog, but there certainly is an optimistic attunement to the big picture of our world. We have Mars conjoining Chiron, we have Venus squaring Saturn, and then sextiling Neptune. There is a lot happening, okay? And we're gonna break it down piece by piece, all of these transits for your life, how to activate them. But let's take it in the vibe check of the week, because if you're new here, this will help give a theme to all of these transits in case these words, you're like, Mars and Chiron, what does this mean about my business proposal that I have this week? Or what does this mean for my child soccer tournament because it's this weekend and you're telling me Venus is squaring? Hopefully this helps sort of paint a picture so that you have an ideal of what it sort of feels like. So this week's vibe check feels like a vacation because vacays feel very Neptunian. You've been looking forward to it. It's the dream. You wake up and you look out the window and there's a stunning view and you get up and you drink a smoothie and you go out on the boat and it's not real life and you just feel so far from everything and you're just like, this is a dream, right? That's very much the Neptunian energy. But Neptune is a tricky little planet because while it's dreamy and it's ethereal, it can also be a deeply disappointing planet because no matter how amazing that vacation is and was, there's always going to be a sensation of feeling a little bit let down or having to return to real life, and maybe that's the disappointment. And that's sort of the energy with this full moon. It's like this optimistic attunement to the big picture and maybe getting sort of lost into this dream, but then eventually having to come back to Earth. And it's very first world problems energy, but let me know if you can relate to this when you're on a vacay and there's some sort of challenge, there's some sort of restriction, and it feels so challenging at the time. Like, just to give an example, let's say you were on vacation and you were meant to, you're in this Neptunian vibe, you get up, you drink a pina colada, you're under the beach, you're like, this is the most perfect day ever. And then you go, because you rented a boat on your little vacay, and turns out they are totally out of boats. And now you have to walk to the other side and see if the other boat company has any boats because you're calling and the phone's not going through and you're hungry and you don't know if you should eat lunch or if you should try to get a boat. And, is it that big of a deal? No, you're on vacay, it's all good, it's not a huge deal, but there are moments when those inconveniences just feel so stressful, right? And you're out of your typical routine and you have all these dreams and these ideals that this vacay has to be the best thing ever, so that every little inconvenience, you're just like, oh gosh, this is like the worst. And the reason there's sort of this energy around inconveniences or a sense of defeat is because this weekend we have Venus square Saturn, which is this energy about coming head to head with reality and just feeling like you lose, right? There is a pocket of loveliness that we can harness with the Venus sextiling Neptune, but being able to harness that means releasing how we felt things should be. Like on vacays when like everything's like super planned and this boat issue is just creating this echo through your whole day. You're like, well, if we don't get the boat, then we can't have our little picnic on the boat. And then we're gonna be late for horseback riding at 3, and then the whole vacay is ruined. It's like, no, it's not ruined. We just need to accommodate reality, because Saturn and reality always win out. Always win out. We can make all the plans. We can have all the visions. Reality will win. We cannot force the boat to materialize in front of us. Sometimes we just have to be like, this vacay isn't going to be exactly how I planned, but maybe we can find that pocket of opportunity to be like, okay, we can't go on this boat. Let's see if we can actually rent a jet ski instead, or something of the nature, like being able to relinquish. But it's funny because both of these planets are in fixed signs, which are very, very stubborn. So it feels like we're not going to want to release our expectation or how we wanted things to permeate, how we wanted things to play out. It's going to be really hard to release, but there is an opportunity of this really glittery, sparkly, like going on this jet ski and really finding this magical afternoon that wouldn't have happened had you A, the original plan would have happened, or B, if you just stomped your feet on the beach complaining about how there's no boat for you to rent. Like, there is an opportunity of loveliness this week, but it does sort of take facing the reality of the situation and just basically having to be like, it is what it is. Let's try to make our own magic in a different direction. So loves, I will be providing more texture and nuance on this vibe check and these astrological influences as we take it day to day. Do know timestamps are below in case you want to or need to come back, and that all times I mention will be PST, or rather it's PDT now. It's PDT because it's daylight time. So all times that I mention will be PDT. So make sure to adjust to your time zone accordingly and let me know what you are sipping on today. Coffee, tea, water. You know I'm a little ashamed of my beverage today because I didn't usually start Magic Monday with my coffee in hand, like, good morning, wake up and smell the cosmic coffee. But today I was like all discreet, like, I don't have a beverage, not I, because I am in fact drinking a Celcius, which, guys, it's probably a toxic trait. I love these things. It's so bad, but I do feel like I had a wake-up call because I poured it into a cup thinking I could drink that and then it wouldn't be as noticeable that I'm drinking an energy drink, and it's glowing. It is glowing neon radioactive, and I'm kind of concerned. I cannot believe I'm sipping this, but it does feel like it fits because it's called Tropical Vibe, and we're on our vacay. We're in our vacay vibe today with the vibe check. So regardless, cheers. This may be my last Celcius that I ever Celcius. Just seeing that color, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. It's like so concerning because I remember the first time I drank one of these, I got into them because I would like drink it right before I went to go work out. And I remember the first time I drank one, I was like sitting in the parking lot outside of Barry's boot camp about to meet my friend, and I'm, you know, Virgo moon and rising, so I get everywhere early because I'm so scared about being late. And I was in the parking lot waiting for an appropriate time to go in and start getting ready. And I drank this too early and my heart felt like it was gonna flutter out of my chest. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. And now here I am just like, good morning, everybody, sipping one of these casually. So not a great sign. Again, no judgment for anyone who drinks energy drinks. I just know they're not a good idea with my body. But very appropriate that I'm drinking this on a Neptunian week. If you know, you know, okay? One thing Neptune's gonna do is go to excess, okay? So without further ado, let's take it day by day by starting with Monday, June 13th. Okay, so good morning. I hope everybody's feeling the good vibes because we do have a Sagittarius moon, which again, it's building to the full moon, so there can be a lot of emotions building certainly, but there is kind of a confidence boost in starting the week because we have that Sagittarius moon trining Jupiter in Aries, so it's giving us this rush of confidence, and then it trines Mars in Aries, which is in its domicile. Mercury also enters Gemini in the morning, so it's really fun because we have a lot of planets comfy cozy in their home turf. We have Mercury in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, so it enjoys being there. We have Venus in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, so it enjoys being there. We have Mars in Aries. Mars rules Aries, so it enjoys being there. And we have Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn, you guessed it, rules Aquarius, so it enjoys being there. We have lots of planets in their home turf, so they're feeling comfy cozy. When the planets are comfy cozy, they're operating as they should be. Keep in mind, just because a planet is comfy cozy in its domicile doesn't mean that it's all peaches and roses. Simply talk to Venus and Taurus, who had to conjoin Uranus last week, and now it's building to square Saturn. Like, just because a planet is comfy doesn't mean that it's exempt from challenging transits, but it does mean that its fullest capacity is firing, right? Like, I like to think of planets as actors and signs as roles. So it's like, it's a good cast. It's a good casting of a planet. Like, Mercury is very well equipped to play the role of Gemini. And what this means for your world, Mercury is a planet of communication, intellect. Mercury does clear the shadow this week. It's not quite there yet. Mercury has to get to, I believe it's 4 degrees Gemini before it's out of terrain that it's already traversed. So Mercury is playing the role of Gemini because Mercury is communication, it's language, it's intellect, and it's very well suited for the role of Gemini, which is the eternal student, which is the messenger, which wants to learn all the things and communicate all of the data. So with Mercury and Gemini, firstly, with Mercury being our mind, we can notice our thoughts speed up quite a bit. You know, Mercury in Taurus was a little bit more languid, a little bit more slow. With Mercury and Gemini, you could just be thinking about all of the things all of the time, particularly if you are very mercurial. So if you're Gemini rising, Virgo rising, or in a Mercury perfected year, sensitive to Mercury in some way. So there is this quickening when it comes to our mental space, as well as wanting to connect with one another. I do want to remind you that Mercury has not cleared the shadow. So again, sort of just, it's building momentum for sure. It actually does clear the shadow. So we are getting this forward momentum of our ideals and the insights that came up during Mercury retrograde. And there's really going to be this quickening with Mercury entering its domicile. There's going to be this mental acuity and attunement to the ideas that could have come to the surface during Mercury retrograde. So look out for that. And there's just really on Monday, there just feels like this burst of motivation and like action, like being able to like take action and go after what it is that we want. Like it just feels like the energy when you wake up on a vacation day, and it's so much easier than waking up to go to work, right? Like on one of those days, waking up is always kind of challenging, but it's so much easier if you have like a 5 a.m. wake up call to be like shimmying to the airport rather than shimmying to work, right? There's just a different energy about it. And there just feels like it'd be this burst of motivation, of confidence. I would definitely recommend working out on Monday morning to just start your week, really harnessing this fiery energy around feeling empowered and feeling authentically you. I always use this example, so I apologize if you hear this all the time from me. But if we think about fire, fire just burns, right? It's the part of ourselves and it's the part of the cosmos that is unapologetic, that is radiant, that is not afraid to take up space and to shine our light. So if you've been waiting for sort of like a burst of courage, this Monday, it's just a moon aspect, so it's not like the most changeable, crazy transit ever, but it is a burst of energy to wake up and carpe the diem. I also want to draw into focus that Monday's moon day, and we're also building to a full moon. So technically it exacts very early Tuesday morning, but trust me when I say it's building, it's coming to the surface. And the truth is coming to the surface. Because like I was saying about fire, because we have the Sagittarius moon trining Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, Chiron in Aries, fire just burns, right? And both Sagittarius and Aries are signs that are very honest and very authentic. And with this full moon brings things to the surface, brings the truth to the surface. So you can be more inclined to want to speak out about your personal truth, to advocate for yourself. You could definitely feel, oh, this is a more optimistic full moon, but you could feel some anger come to the surface. Like fire burns, right? You could feel emotions that you've sort of suppressed but are honest and true to you come to the surface. And I would just encourage you to honor your truth, honor the truth, honor other people's truth if they come to you. On Tuesday, the 14th, the Sagittarius full moon exacts at 4:32 a.m. PST. So we're gonna feel this build Monday night as well. All of Monday, truly. A lot of those insights are coming to the surface, but it exacts early Tuesday morning. With Sagittarius full moon, it's almost like this step back from, you know, the day-to-day, kind of the energy of the vacay. Like, I know not all of us are in Tahiti this week. I wish we all were talking about astrology in Tahiti, but most of us are just working. But it's almost like that energy when you're on vacay, and you almost just get like a step back from your day-to-day life. And you just sort of reattune to the big picture of it all, right? And you can see things with a clarity sometimes around when you're not in that hustle and grind. You're like, okay, these elements of my life aren't really making me pleased. Or, you know, every time I think about my job, my heart just sinks and I'm just really thinking I might want to do something else, or I kind of want to go back to school, or, you know, life can't be vacay all the time, but maybe I've been feeling so good every day on vacay because I've been doing yoga. Maybe that's something I can integrate into my life. This full moon feels like that big picture step back that we kind of get during a vacay, because Sagittarius attunes to the big picture and attunes to where is it that I'm not honoring my truth? Where is it that I'm not honoring my desire for expansiveness and for adventure? And with the square to Neptune, where am I not honoring my soul and my soul's truth? Like, what have I been avoiding from my intuition to come to the surface? Where do I feel lost and confused? Like, where can I attune to my bigger picture calling and purpose, right? Where can I infuse that? I do want to highlight with the Neptune, it does give this energy of escapism. It does give this energy of excess. So I would be mindful on intaking anything Monday night, Tuesday morning. Although with Neptune, the call is to escape. And with this full moon, the call is to escape, to be able to reconnect to the big picture of our world. Our spiritual landscape, our sense of adventure, our sense of morals, our sense of faith. It's not so much about the minutia, but more so attuning to, okay, let me take a step back and look at the forest rather than just the trees of my world, and reconnect to that. It cannot be Neptune all the time. It cannot be a vacation all the time, but sometimes taking that temporary vacation or that temporary step back to look at the big picture of your world, take a break from the hustle and bustle, just provides you a clarity that would otherwise be missing. And loves, this full moon just feels like this reconnection, this reorientation to the big picture of your world and of your personal truth and of your purpose. And whenever I've felt lost, astrology has always been a compass for me, like coming back to my birth chart and connecting deeper into it to understand what it is that I was put on this planet to do, the strengths that I innately have, the challenges that are ahead that I'm living through. Like, I feel like it is such a beautiful roadmap truly to one's soul. So I do want to highlight, just to celebrate the Sagittarius full moon, I would love to give you all a code, the Monday Magicians. Sagittarius full moon will grant you $88 off any tier on my course, Self-Care Astrology. You may have heard I've been popping in every week or so. I'm doing an exclusive workshop series, so it's an exclusive perk. On top of the astrology birth chart course, you will also have these live workshops, opportunity to connect with other astrology enthusiasts, get feedback on your chart from me, help you with your connection to your chart, as well as see the concepts in the curriculum demonstrated within your own astrological natal chart as an example. And I'm here to connect if you have any questions. The link to enroll is below. It's on my site, selfcareastrology.com. And the Starry-Eyed Summer workshop series will be an add-on for any tier that you invest in, both live sessions and recorded. So if you vacays this summer, needn't worry, because you can catch up on your own timing if the timing doesn't align. Oh, loves, this is literally part of my life's work. Like, it makes me the happiest person, the happiest human, happiest astrologer to see the light bulbs light up in individuals as they start to really understand these astrological concepts for themselves as well as for others. So I would still love to invite you if that feels resonant. The other interesting part about this full moon is, yes, it's very Neptunian, but it also has this soft little sextile to Saturn. So like, yes, there is this desire to escape and to connect to our big picture and to just turn our phone off and reconnect to the like whispers of within. With the sextile to Saturn, some of these insights and this vacation, so to speak, from our day-to-day can be really valuable in guiding the pathway forward, like around getting those insights on a vacation around, okay, life can't always be vacation, but what aspects of myself do I like better on this trip? Like, I like that I'm doing yoga every day. I don't do that when I'm at home. I'm getting up at 7. I'm more easygoing. I'm kinder to individuals. I'm more open to random conversations. How can I integrate this more into my day-to-day? And maybe not everyone is en route to a flight to Tahiti, you know, on a vacay, but maybe this is a time to turn your phone off, connect to the whispers of within, and really listen to what your intuition or your spirituality is bubbling to the surface that you can integrate in a very practical, tangible way. It doesn't have to be this distant thing that you can only be a spiritual being when you're on retreats. Like, there are ways to work with these energies and integrate them practically and realistically within our day-to-day. So with the sextile, it's a soft influence. It's not a given, it's an opportunity energy. But I want you to seize that opportunity around taking a little vacay, whether physically, I'm celebrating anyone who happens to be on a flight to Tahiti. I'm jealous of you. Or just a vacation from the hustle and bustle, to journal, to spend time in nature, to just reconnect to your big picture why. Why do I do what I do? Why am I passionate about what it is that I'm passionate about? Asking the bigger questions. That's what Sagittarius is all about. So the moon squares Neptune at around 7:58 a.m., at which point it is void until it enters Capricorn at 3:14 p.m. And if the moon is void, say it with me, and yes, this is a call and response, important tasks we must avoid. Not to say that you need to call out of work and not do anything important ever, but it gives a very sleepy vibe, especially with the closing aspect being a square to Neptune, head in the clouds, daydreaming, going to excess. It's very much this energy around not being able to get out of bed, feeling a little dreary, which is also why I was saying Monday night, just being mindful when it comes to the wine or anything of that nature. Neptune always whispers into our ear, escape, escape, come away with me, come away with me. And it just feels like Tuesday morning, we're having like a full moon hangover, and maybe for some of us an actual hangover. So just feels like a slower start to the day. Trust me, when the moon enters Capricorn, you'll be re-motivated to attend to the prestige and the business and all of these things. But with this sort of sleepy, big picture, dreamy energy with the Sagittarius moon squaring Neptune in Pisces, you might just not feel very motivated, and that's okay. This is very much the energy on vacation where it's like you're so exhausted from the hustle and grind that you just need a moment to rest and to sleep and to dream. And maybe you don't get up and go to your tour at 9 a.m. like it was the plan. That's okay, like sinking into what it is that you need within that moment. And trust me, when the moon enters Capricorn, you'll be craving a little bit more structure, but that's not what the Sagittarius moon squaring Neptune is craving. No, no, no. On Wednesday, the 15th, there is this sort of tenseness within the cosmos. There feels to be a little bit of crabbiness. People don't feel to be particularly getting along. So this wouldn't be the time that I would appeal to an authority figure or anything of that nature, because it feels like a no. The Capricorn moon is crabby. Mars in Aries is impatient, and there just feels like we're not getting what we want when we're on vacay and we have to get from place to place, and our meal clocks are off from one another. Sometimes there's going to be differing desires. Someone forgot something, so we have to stop by the mart for that person. This person wants to go for a hike, and this person just wants to chill by the beach. There just feels to be a difference of opinion, and it just feels crabby. The vibe on Wednesday is crabby. So my advice on Wednesday is there is this energy around not taking things personally and trying not to be on the offense, okay? It feels like people are going to be on the offense, okay? But I'm imploring you to just be mindful of where that desire to want to defend yourself or hurt the other person before they hurt you comes up, because on Wednesday, we have Mars conjoining Chiron. And if you're unfamiliar, Chiron is the wounded healer. It's where it is we have been wounded, but where it is that we can sort of alchemize that energy for other people. But it's sort of like a sore spot. It's a part to our soul and a part to our journey that no matter how much work we've done on ourselves, no matter how much we've healed, it's still a part that's like, ouch, that hurt. And with Mars, Chiron, it just feels like energy on Wednesday, where it's like we could be triggering people's insecurities or soft spots without even intending to. Like to a surface level, because Capricorn moon just wants to get things done, just wants to be productive. So it's like, okay, we need to get this project going. And that's what you're saying or what you're encouraging. But then the other person feels like, it might not have even been when you said, but that sort of triggered someone else around, they're saying I'm lazy and incompetent. Or it's like you suggest something, back to the vacay vibe check, you suggest, maybe we should try this new place, like that's really known for their amazing cuisine, it's a hole in the wall spot. And then someone says, no, that's like a bad idea and that's gonna give me a tummy ache and I'm not into it. It's like, okay, they said they just don't wanna eat that kind of food, but you were like, no one ever listens to me. You know what I mean? It's like things that go deeper than surface level, where it's just like, ouch. And the reason I'm highlighting, it's not necessarily about words. Mars is how we defend ourselves. So it just feels like people could be on the offense, or I guess I should say defense. They're so defensive that they're playing offense, essentially. It's like you're kicking the ball to their side of the field and they're like, heck no, get this out. And I'm actually gonna come at you for the ways that you are not enough. So like in that hypothetical vacay thing, when you suggest that one place and they're like, no, that sounds like my tummy's gonna hurt. Then they're like, well, you need to get your digestion figured out because you're a mess. Like going beyond. So I just want your motto on Wednesday. I do not take things personally. I stay focused on getting the job done within my own little bubble, and people might be impatient and people might be rushing me, but their experience doesn't say anything about me. Let me just practically address what is in front of me and manage my responses. Let me respond rather than react. That's the other thing with all of this Aries. It's very much like knee-jerk reactions, going for the guttural and then be like, whoopsie, you just kind of hurt my feelings. So that's why I reacted the way I did. People don't realize Aries can be a very sensitive sign that you just wouldn't think that, right? But something to be mindful of on Wednesday. Hey there, editing me. Excuse the interruption. I just want to highlight, because I forgot, my bad. Flop astrologer. On Wednesday, Venus meets up with the North Node. So I want you to pay attention to Venusian events that happen on Wednesday, because Venus is love, beauty, money, pleasure. So with North Node, it's essentially things that sort of evolve our soul forward. It's fate. So for example, if you get a new financial offer on Wednesday, it could be something like life-changing. If you go on a date, it could be someone really impactful for your journey forward. If you meet someone as well, if you get a new idea for a creative project, it could be really essential. So on Wednesday, keep your eyes open. Thursday, the sun squares Neptune and trines Saturn. The vibe of Thursday is around letting go of how things could be and embracing how they are. Like back to the vibe check. There can be frustrations. Things cannot live up to your expectations. No vacation is 100% perfect all of the time. There's gonna be bumps in the road. But when you relinquish what you thought it was going to be and stop comparing it against the streamy ideal, and that's why Neptune's so tricky, because it's sparkly, it's shimmery, it's glamorous. We can't compete with Neptune because Neptune is made out of the substance of fantasy and the most glossiest airbrushed photos that we saw of Tahiti online. And it's like, it doesn't account into the little inconveniences that are simply bound to occur. Because with the sun trining Saturn, like there can be this energy around attuning to the foundations of our world, the structures of our world. Like again, we got that vacay from reality with that Sagittarius full moon, and now we can take that insight and put it into action around, okay, life can't always be the daydream. It can't always be, dreamy and Tahiti and beaches and pina coladas. But while I was getting that space, I realized that these elements of my life I'm not necessarily enthused by, and maybe I can adjust the structures. Maybe I can reprioritize my time to make more time for these areas. And with Sun square Neptune, there's going to be a call to escape from reality, to avoid, to not deal with stuff. And I would just really encourage this week, like the temptation to escape and to not tune to the details is going to be high. We're going to be distracted because Mercury is in Gemini. And I do want you to take that break or take that reorientation. But what I don't want you to do is just like kick all of the important files under your bed and just be like, I'll deal with that in 3 weeks. Like, definitely be mindful around the due dates of the files, just so you're not, avoiding too much. Because with Sun square Neptune, it's like, I don't want to live in a life with files and bills. I just want to live in dream world forever. Reality can be better than that photoshopped picture of Tahiti, because it's real. We can't compete with Neptune because we can't compete against an ideal. And there just feels to be this battle on Thursday around visualizing and imagining and wishing things were different, but also this opportunity when we sink into how things are now. Because maybe it's not a vacation for you. Maybe it's, letting go of your career looking like this other sparkly dream that you had when you were younger, and always comparing the reality to that, because it's like, here's the thing about daydreams. It only goes too much. We don't daydream about the inconveniences that are bound to occur, whatever the situation, right? And it's like, if we're constantly comparing our reality, which is real, which is full of lessons and areas that we are mastering our world, to this dreamy ideal, we're skirting around the work, right? Because we can constantly be dreaming the dream, searching for that perfect vacation, searching for that perfect existence, and feeling permanently dissatisfied with our reality because we're comparing it to this photoshopped, airbrushed version of what our life could be that simply doesn't tell the whole story. So on Thursday, I want you to be mindful around over-idealizing because there can be, this is the day that Mercury clears the shadows. So it's like we're getting this positive momentum around integrating shifts within our world. We're getting, more and more clarity as we continue. And it's really about, yes, maybe parts of that vision can help inform our reality. Okay, when I'm on vacay, I do these things which I enjoy. Let me integrate that in my structure. But I want you to do just that, integrate it into your structure, rather than abandoning your structures and your reality to chase that new ideal, right? There just feels to be a conflict in between the two. And in the spirit of vacays, I just wanted to share it because I put on this dress before I'd even looked at the astrology. So I wasn't aware what I was going to theme the vibe check on, but I just got this on vacay actually. So it definitely does fit. I went to the desert for some time, and just to give an example of its energy, because it's not like a very really intense, like something on vacay going horribly wrong. It's just like inconveniences that are bound to occur. And that's how this dress came to be, basically. We went to the desert, and it was like we had went at the end of May, beginning of June, and I didn't realize things shift around that time. I don't know. We had that issue so many times where like we would show up somewhere and they'd be like, oh, that was the May schedule. Now we're on a June schedule, like multiple times, which I'd never experienced before, but we live, we learn. We were going to this like market, and I'd looked it up, and I had looked up the May time, and the May start time was 6, but the June start time was 7. So because I had relayed that information, here I was leading my family to this market when we're an hour early in the hot desert heat. And it's like, well, what are we gonna do? And we were so hungry and tired and hot, and we were just walking back and forth. I was searching endlessly for this hat. I just really want a hat, guys. Do you guys feel like I could be a hat person? I don't have like any hats. I don't wear hats at Magic Monday. So I just wanted to see if I could be a hat person. Everything was sort of disappointing me, and I was just kind of bummed because I was like, oh, our reservation isn't for a while. The market hasn't even started. I can't find a hat anywhere. Just feeling sort of dejected, right? But it's like I was so laser focused on gotta find that hat, that dreamy Neptune ideal. I need this dream, I need this perfection. And right now, reality is that I'm hot. We're walking back and forth in this market. Our reservations aren't for a while. I'm the one who got us into this situation where we're here early and everybody's tired and we've walked so much today. And it's like, when I was able to relinquish, that element of like disappointment, like, okay, I'm not gonna get a hat. I did find some cute ones, but they were all like $150. And I was just like, girl, is that how much hats are? I had no idea. So disappointed, but we walked by this outdoor market, and I saw this dress, And if you don't know, I am a Pisces, and these little fish, I tried to wait to wear this dress for an event that had Pisces energy, but I simply couldn't wait. I just saw it in my closet this morning, and I was like, fish dress, it's your time. And loved it right when I saw it. It was $5. It was $5. And so love my fish dress. And again, it took me not keeping my head down, just being like, where's the hat? Where's the hat? Why are hats $150? Can I even be a hat girl? Like, it took me releasing that and being open to like look around at the market once it finally opened to be like, okay, the hat's not working out, but what could work out? And then you might find something even better than what you had imagined it to be. Because that's the thing about reality, is that yes, there's inconveniences and there's frustrations, and you can get lost on vacay, they're out of boats. You got your family to the market too early and it doesn't start for an hour. But there can be pockets of beauty within it. And I'm talking like a Hallmark card. I can't help it. It's Sagittarius full moon, okay? It's a time to be corny and to be inspirational. The Capricorn moon does go void on Thursday at 11:41 a.m. Closing aspect is a conjunction to Pluto. So again, try not to be too hard on yourself. No one is perfect. No one is perfect, okay? Everybody makes mistakes at work, and it's the worst. It is the worst. I wish we could ban mistakes, but it is part of it. So if you do happen to make a mistake at work, just let it go, okay? All you can do is pledge that you'll do differently next time. All you can do is learn from that, right? And with the Capricorn moon, we could just emotionally tether ourselves to it or feel like a failure. And again, with the square to Neptune the same day, it's like this energy around the highly idealized version of myself when I was supposed to like work in magazines and live in New York. That version of myself wouldn't have made this mistake. And it's like, that version of yourself isn't real. And everybody makes mistakes at work, no matter how much they project that they do not, right? Everybody has that stuff. So try not to get too emotionally attached to it or to be too hard on yourself. And then the moon is void from 11:41 until 2:44. So a great time for a break, okay? Great time for a break. Go for a little walk, blow off some steam, and then the moon enters Aquarius that afternoon. And it trines Mercury, which is newly in Gemini. So we're more in the mood to communicate and connect. This would be a great time to get together with some friends and just chit chat. On Friday, June 17th, there's opportunity, but just pockets of opportunity, loves, lots of sextiles, and a desire to want to avoid reality. Again, that's like a huge part of this week. And what are vacays but not a escape from reality, right? And this escape from reality is coming from Uranus, so it's more so just craving something new and different. It feels like we're a little scattered this week. Okay, Mercury and Gemini, we're gonna feel a little scattered, so just make your little list, check it twice. And I would definitely say tackle what you feel inspired to tackle on Friday. With the Aquarius moon, we're more inclined towards our humanitarian goals and ideals. It's receiving a sextile to Mars in Aries. So we are feeling very can-do, very optimistic, what we are able to accomplish towards our big picture, large scale endeavors. So Friday, get up and get after it. Saturday, Saturn's day, it's a very melancholic sort of vibe, especially waking up. Like, it might be the vibe when you wake up and you're like, I just want to go to the beach, but I have to go through all this stuff and I have to do all my laundry and do all my errands. Let me know how you guys typically like structure your weekends if you get them off. Like, do you do all the annoying stuff like the errands and the car fixing on Saturday and then play on Sunday? Do you wait to do the errands on Sunday? I'm like really curious. I work with the planetary days of the week, so I typically try to do the annoying parts of life and of maintenance on Saturday to honor the energy of Saturn. But I'm curious what you guys do. But there just feels to be on Saturday a big attunement and a weight from our responsibilities. And it just feels like it's killing our vibe because it also, Saturn, that is, also squares Venus. And Venus is our sense of beauty. It's our sense of values. It's our romance. And with the Saturn, there's just a no. We can stare at the lake all we want, but it's not going to materialize another boat. Like, Saturn is basically the reality of the matter. The reality of the matter is they overbooked. And we can complain. And again, like I said, with fixed signs, we can smack our fists against the sand and be like, I want a boat now. It's on my itinerary. Or we could be like, okay, well, now we have afternoon. Let's just figure out something. It just feels like a no. We're just going to feel a little blocked, a little scarce. And I also just want you to be mindful around feelings of scarcity and just knowing this too shall pass. With Venus and Taurus, one step at a time. With this square to Saturn, we can be feeling really, really blocked and restricted, love-wise, money-wise. And again, this too shall pass. Particularly with finances, I really want to do a video on this. Perhaps I'll do one on TikTok, which, by the way, I'm at here at Comet Astrology if you want to follow me. But I've really been called to do a video around just finances right now because I think there's a lot of anxiety in the collective, clearly, with inflation and just with all of the things that are happening financially in this world. And I just feel that it is so symptomatic of Uranus being in Taurus. Uranus is what is unstable. Taurus is money as well as physical goods. And I just feel like we've had these insane ups and downs and inflation and all of these things, and it's creating all of this fear and anxiety. And with Venus and Taurus obviously met up with Uranus last week, it's receiving the square to Saturn. There just feels to be this instability within it. And I just mentioned that not to say that anything bad's happening this weekend, anything like that. I just want you to slow and steady. Know this too shall pass. Resist going down deep fear spirals around the future and what it'll entail. Again, we can make the most beautiful plan for our vacation, and we simply don't know what it'll be like when we get there. We don't know if they're really gonna have the boats. We don't know if the hotel was really a good choice. There's just things that are out of our control, and we can panic and try to control what that future is gonna look like, or we can just take a deep breath and work one step at a time. Just take a deep breath, just slow and steady, one foot at a time. Just continue to do what you can today, and tomorrow you're gonna wake up and do what you can. And I mention this just because it can be very easy to go down like a deep fear spiral, especially with all of this Neptune this week, and then Venus squaring Saturn around, oh my gosh, what if I can't afford this? And this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. And I understand we cannot, downplay the stress that finances can bring upon us. I'm not downplaying that at all. But I do want you to take a moment this weekend, if you're feeling those fear spirals around, oh my gosh, inflation and all of these things, come back into your body with Venus and Taurus. Do something nice for yourself, which again, doesn't have to involve money. It could be spending time in nature, having a bath, just something that grants you back into your body. Because there's also Venus sextiling Neptune this weekend. So there could be pockets of loveliness when we are able to relinquish the plan, right? Or relinquish the disappointment. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm not the millionaire that I wanted to be by 28 that I had visualized when I was younger, but I feel wealthy in love, and I feel I have a roof over my head, and I feel grateful for A, B, and C. And yes, I actually got us to the market an hour early, and I can't find a hat, and I'm bummed because I thought I could be a hat girl, but I found a fish dress. It's like embracing what is and releasing what it's not. It's about befriending reality rather than fighting against it. We can yell and we can scream and we can hope a boat appears. We can hope the perfect hat appears at the perfect price point. Or we can look around and see if there's a fish dress for us. So Saturday, there is kind of a melancholic vibe. I don't want you to believe any thoughts or any fear spirals that come to the surface. Ground down into your body, take care of your spirit, one step at a time, love. You don't have to have it all figured out. And the moon's void from 11:50. The closing aspect is the Aquarius moon trining the Gemini sun, which is the waning, disseminating moon phase, which is about sharing, giving back, connecting with one another. So again, if you're in a fear spiral, maybe just calling someone up, or maybe just connecting with someone just to remind you like you're not alone, right? And with Venus square Saturn, it also could be put this restriction on our love life where we feel like we're not supported or anything of that nature. Like part of Saturday is also just like reaching out, like our loved ones, as much as they can love us and know us, they don't always know what it is that we're going through. So being open to reach out and to connect with one another. And that's what I really love about Gemini season, is how open they are. And they don't have this like huge ego where they feel like they need to be seen in a certain way or have all the answers. They're open to ask questions and be curious, and also to be vulnerable at times if they don't have all the answers, which I really just love about Gemini. So honor some of that spirit on Saturday. You are not in this alone. And then the moon enters Pisces at 4:01, which draws our awareness to our spirit, to our soul, to how it is that we feel. We can feel more sensitive. And I just want to draw in a focus because Venus sextiles Neptune that evening, and with the Pisces moon, it could be a dreamy date night, but again, relinquishing how it is that you wish that person would show up and embracing how they are. Befriending reality. you may wish, maybe your dream when you were younger is that you would meet, Prince Charming, Princess Charming, who would pick you up at 7 and take you to a fancy multi-course meal, and you would dress to the nines, and you're looking at reality and be like, oh, they want to go to the drive-in and pick up tacos on the way. Like, not quite the glamorous ideal I'd set on, but it could also be fun, even if it's not the glamorous ideal. And it could be silly. You guys could get the popcorn and spill it and then have to get it from the trunk, but look at one another and like giggle and laugh. And that's real. Like, those inconveniences are what's part of being human. That's part of connection. So also just with dates that you go on, like if you are single, there could be this energy, especially with the Pisces moon, of the dreamy ideal, be this energy around, oh my gosh, what if they're a doctor and they're super passionate about giving back and they have the same interests, and then you get there and they're not that at all. They actually just carve wooden ducks and you're like a little let down. But then they share with you some stories about wooden ducks and you're like, actually, this is sort of interesting. It's like sometimes magical discovery can occur when we relinquish our firm control around it needs to be like this. On Sunday, the 19th, I do want to draw into focus that it is Juneteenth. It is also Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to any of the dads out there, but especially mine. And the vibe for Juneteenth and Father's Day is we have a Pisces moon squaring Mercury and Gemini, so we could feel distracted, head in the clouds. Again, that's a very head in the clouds sort of week. And I encourage that, but all I'm saying is keep a list so that you don't brush over some important deadline or something of the nature. And then with the sextile to Uranus and Taurus, feels like a really great day to invoke some dreaminess into your everyday. Like maybe life isn't the glamorous fairy tale you had hoped that it would be, but there can be pockets of loveliness that you can encourage. You can have a little picnic and listen to music. Like you can find pockets of fantasy and pockets of the dream within the reality of it. Hey there, I just want to speak a little bit more about Juneteenth. I did, when filming this, talk about it, but I just edited it out simply because I opened the dialogue saying Happy Juneteenth, and it just felt off listening back to that because while it is a celebratory holiday and a celebratory occasion, it really speaks to so many horrifying atrocities that have been done towards Black Americans. And furthermore, so much work that is needed still. Like, we're further than we were, certainly, but there's still so much more to be done. So it just didn't feel appropriate for me to just be like, Happy Juneteenth, because I still do feel like there is a lot more to be done. And I am a white astrologer, so it just felt wrong for me to have this Happy Juneteenth energy. So I edited that out. What I want to say instead is I hope everybody has a meaningful Juneteenth. So I hope everybody takes some time this Sunday to really contemplate, especially if you're white like myself, contemplate privilege and how that factors into your lived experience, how you can use that privilege to support BIPOC wherever it is that you are, how you can make yourself and your business as anti-racist as possible. I think it's so important, especially with Gemini season, that we are open and teachable and curious, which is why I'm admitting that, I'd use that verbiage in the prior, version of what it is that I'm saying and edit it out because I'm not an expert, but I am dedicated to learning and to being open towards other people's lived experiences and then integrating that within who I am as an individual, as well as my YouTube channel and as well as my business. I think it's so essential right now with Saturn and Aquarius that we put our actions to our humanitarian ideals. Like, Aquarius is what it is that we believe in. And with Saturn, it's like, okay, you can believe that we all deserve to live in a society that is fair and equitable, but are you putting in the work day in and day out? So definitely take some time to contemplate that this Sunday. So loves, I've been chit-chatting for over an hour, almost about an hour and a half. My goodness, I am so sorry. That was so long. Thank you so much for listening to the end. The two people who are at the end. Hey guys, what's up? I do want to draw into focus that starry-eyed summer. Again, Sagittarius full moon. That code expires Wednesday, 11:59. So I would so love to invite you if you want to get more comfortable speaking this language of astrology. And loves, the Magic Monday mantra of the week is I embrace what is and release what is not. Again, this is a huge theme with all of these aspects coming in from Saturn and Neptune around. It may not be the ideal, but it's real. right? I am sending you so much love. Make it a beautiful week. I'm so excited to get to connect with you all via Starry-Eyed Summer this summer. Make sure to take advantage of that little discount. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.